the same as in life, people make proclamations and they don't always come to pass down the track. And as a result of this, I've kind of built up a little bit of a sort of guard, if you will, a little bit of a tortoise's shell, that when people say that we're going to do this, we're going to do that, whether it's football, whether it's politicians, I have a little bit of skepticism about me. I try to trust people, I really do. My default position is to try and see the best in people. But there's always that little bit of me that's like, do you know what? I've had people that have said this sort of thing before, mate. So it's great if you're going to sort of make these proclamations, but I'll believe it when I see it, which kind of brings me into sort of focus as far as the video I put out yesterday is concerned with Daniel Křetínský, and a little bit of inbuilt skepticism I've got there. Also, the skepticism in that regard also centers around David Sullivan. Now, David Sullivan, as I record this on Saturday, it's a week now since he stood down as the chairman of West Ham United and also relinquished a position on the board of directors. That then obviously came a couple of days before the Panorama exposé, which, let's be completely honest about it, probably didn't tell us an awful lot that we didn't already know about David Sullivan in his previous incarnation as the top tier man, as someone in the adult industry, adult entertainment, call it what you will. That he might have used certain situations, allegedly, supposedly, to his advantage. That's what the Panorama expose has painted a picture of David Sullivan. Whether that's fact or fiction, who knows? But if we're being honest about it, would it really be a surprise if someone in that position maybe sort of took a few advantages here and there? Probably not. It didn't tell us anything that we didn't already know, I don't think. So with David Sullivan out of the door, there was probably a lot of people that were quite joyous and saying that, yeah, great, he's off, he's out the way. We're going to usher in this new era under Daniel Křetínský. Everything's going to be good. I was sitting here and saying, until he sold his 38.8% shareholding in West Ham United and his bloodline is out of the club, I, forgive me, will remain ever vigilant. Fast forward to now, and there's a story that's been put out there which sent a shiver down my spine, I have to say. Now, this particular article I've seen on Hammers News. There's been various other media outlets that have covered it. It's been on YouTube. Some of the other West Ham fan YouTube channels have covered it. And now I'm going to get my teeth into this particular story as well. And I want your thoughts on it as well. You've got a comment section below. Please get stuck in. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, if you could click subscribe and hit the bell notification, and that way you'll know of any new content as and when it's uploaded to the channel. Drop a like on the stream, give us a hype if you got one available, maybe consider sharing this onto your social media platforms, and that's a really big thank you from me. So let's talk about David Sullivan. So this article in the Hammers News, as I say, it's covered in various other articles online and in print, is out there. He's had, apparently, according to this, a number of emails that have said that he's made a mistake in resigning his position at the club. And he's asked a question on whether he is going to sell his shares. And his retort in this article says, who knows? Those two words sent a shiver down my spine, but probably I wasn't altogether shocked by those two words coming out of David Sullivan's a narcissist. He's a power hungry man, and those two words, whilst they were of a concern to me, probably were what I was expecting, in all honesty. He goes on to say, I've had hundreds of emails saying I shouldn't have resigned. I did as I thought was best for the club. Whether it was the right decision, I do not know. That's a hell of a red flag, I think. If you're a West Ham fan, you'll read that article and you'll just be like, oh no. But as I say, if you understand how this guy operates, you probably realistically won't be surprised. He still owns 38.8% of the equity within the company of West Ham United, and that is a bit of a problem. Now, this story also mentions that Sullivan could be forced to sell his stake in West Ham United. The decision potentially could be taken out of his hands. Whether he likes it or whether he doesn't, his stake in West Ham might be moved on by the Independent Football Regulator, the IFR. But there are some pundits within the media, and one of the principal agitators of that is a certain Simon Jordan of TalkSport, the former chairman of Crystal Palace. And he says he doesn't believe that will be possible. Now, Simon Jordan is not the font of all knowledge. He doesn't know every answer to every question, but I do have to factor in that he is quite clued up. He's a very articulate and intelligent man. I actually quite like him, or not. I don't know him, but obviously his persona in the media. I think he's straight talking. I think he says it as it is. And he's obviously still quite connected, although he's no longer a football chairman, he's still quite connected in that role, in that realm, if you will. And so if he says that he doesn't believe it will necessarily be possible for the IFR to compel David Sullivan, who is now articulating that he's not too sure whether he's made the right move. So there's now this element of doubt. He's sitting there going, should I have done it? Shouldn't I do it? Da 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 da. I don't know, guys. Like I say, this is a big concern. There's all these proclamations that Daniel Křetínský's come out with saying he's going to get into David Sullivan's shares. He's going to do this, that, and the other with London Stadium. Let's just be a little bit cautious here, guys, because it may well be that David Sullivan is having second thoughts as to whether he's made the right move. And who knows how this is all going to pan out. There's been this Panorama expose that's gone out there, which is all allegations and nothing more. But the fact of the matter is that he may well decide, who knows what he's thinking. He might be thinking, maybe I've made the wrong move here. Maybe, just maybe, there's a way back. Now, personally, that is really just something that I'm absolutely appalled by, that's even a thing. But the fact of the matter is that David Sullivan is now beginning to question the wisdom of the decision he made a week ago in stepping away as the chairman, as a director of West Ham United. And all this talk about him selling his shares, Daniel Křetínský possibly getting his hooks into. And as I said on the video yesterday, Daniel Křetínský, as I understand it, has had an opportunity probably for about the last 3 years since the gold shares went up for sale. And as of right now, not a single share, to my knowledge, have been moved on to Daniel Křetínský. So if Daniel Křetínský wanted to increase his shareholding in West Ham United at any time in the last 3 years, he could have done that. And he could have had a greater shareholding in West Ham United than David Sullivan as of about 3 years ago. So if he could have done it then, why is he now talking about it now? I'm a little bit skeptical on both of these things. If you go back and look at the video that I put out yesterday, you'll see that I'm not too convinced that Daniel Křetínský is the answer. But I tell you what, if Daniel Křetínský isn't the answer, and maybe he is and maybe he isn't, I'll tell you what, David Sullivan sure as hell ain't the answer. Absolutely not. But we've got this situation now where David Sullivan is sitting there lurking in the shadows with 38.8% of our club, and he's now questioning whether he should have walked away, which now makes it perfectly possible that, who knows, he might be thinking about coming back as the chairman. Oh my God. Going into the championship season with him still hovering around would just be, for me, absolutely catastrophic. I hope that there's a resolution. I hope that in the not too distant future, we have some clarity, because at the minute, the only thing we've got is speculation and just a lack of vision of where we're actually going from here. Yes, all this talk from Daniel Křetínský, very, very, very aspirational and good vision of what potentially West Ham United could be. As I say, though, I do have a degree of skepticism with what he's saying. But then we've got David Sullivan, who's not too sure whether he's made the right move of moving away as chairman. Maybe there's a way back. And if there is a way back, oh my goodness. Wow. Just wow. What do you think? David Sullivan having reservations on whether he should have stepped down as the chairman and as a member of the board of directors of West Ham United. He still owns 38.8% of the shares. Could he come back? That's the nightmare scenario. That is the absolute nightmare scenario. Forget about Panorama exposés. Forget about all the rumors. The fact that this guy could make a comeback would just be like, we've had all of this noise in the last week about he's out, he's gone, there's no way back for him. Is there? Was all that for nothing? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see how it plays out. As I'm always at pains to say, guys, I'm not an ITK. I've not heard any whispers. I'm just reading stories the same as you. I'm making my interpretation. You might have a different interpretation of it. You might have a different point of view. You've got a comment section below. Get stuck into that and let me know what you think. Please also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. hit the bell notification, drop a like on the stream, give us a hype if you've got one available. We'll see you again soon. Come on, you irons.